to 081 200 6659. Hashtag Learn on One. Invite learning in.
One of the sad realities that lockdown has illustrated is not only the rampant inequality in our society, but also how government continues to fail the citizens of this republic. This pandemic has proved that we truly are a third world nation dependent on foreign aid, and our lives really don't matter to some.
And so I decided to come and join this trial. I'm not scared because I want to know whether this vaccine will it able to work, but I'm willing can it work for this COVID. I'm hoping that this vaccine is going to work.
The incentive, a bonus, Mhlongo says, not a primary reason for his participation. He reveals he was paid 100 Rand during the screening period, 300 Rand on a second visit, and he will receive another 300 Rand per visit or checkup. Mhlongo tells us he heard about the trials at the hospital where his child is participating in another study.
I mean, there's no cure, but people are out here recovering. And yet it is reported that this week, South Africans volunteered to participate in vaccine testing for a disease that has apparently not claimed a single Namibian life. And a vaccine that was purported to be years in the making is suddenly available. And Cyril is meeting with Bill Gates. Hi, Bo. And then I saw this.
Hello, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister. How are you?
I'm glad to call to first check in on how things are going and congratulate you on COVID-19. You acted very quickly.
Yes, we started early. As we had about 2 cases only, we took drastic steps because new cases are now coming up because of travelers, the truck drivers who are coming back from South Africa. So we got new cases again, 3 of them. But our total is so far good, 25 altogether, and about 9 have recovered. 1 now dead so far, so we knock on the wood. To a small country like Namibia, and we appreciate that you are looking at us as partners. So thank you very much for that. Okay, my friend.
Take very good care, and we'll talk to you again.
Bye-bye.
Riet Chipanga, yet another Namibian-turned activist, has made it her purpose to hold government accountable for the deplorable living conditions that those living in her community endure. She alerted ITSARAP to the plight of another incident in which food meant to assist vulnerable communities was distributed to a select few. Only certain parts of the Komastad constituency in Ochomise Sevendelaan area are electrified, and after decades of having lived there, not all the residents have been allowed to claim their erven and build solid houses. Riet Chipanga decided to once more take issue with the community leader in her area as food parcels intended for distribution amongst the vulnerable and destitute were once again allegedly misappropriated.
I'm the one who are fighting for our land here in Sevendelaan, Agsterland. We are at the renting heirs, now 19-20 years. Illegal heirs also. City of Windhoek didn't want to give us this land. We are tired to stay in these shake houses. Yesterday, one of the CDC leaders, his name is Heitua, he's the owner of the shipping. He has told us yesterday we must come and collect the food here. I come here to ask him, when is the food given? He was, the people's line was standing here inside. It was there inside banking. I go inside, they was first starting to give the mask. They're inside in the shipping. I ask him, when are you starting to give the food? He tell me, you are not having that right to come in my shipping and ask me here. I ask him, why are you doing the community work here in your shipping? Why don't you do the community work outside? That's why if you're doing outside, then I will come outside and ask you there. He tell me that I must go out of his shipping. I go out of his shipping. He tell, where is a meeting? It will start like 6 o'clock, 7:30 that time. Okay, what is the meeting for? They said for that COVID-19 food. We will first do the meeting, and after meeting, we will give you the food. We come to the meeting there, 6 o'clock yesterday. He was saying that we must contribute. They took 2 secretaries. And these secretaries must be paid from the community. Because these 2 secretaries must do the work. They must write our names to get this COVID-19 food. I asked him, why must we pay these 2 secretaries? You are most the CDCs to do that work. Is it not? Why are you the CDCs? Where are we getting that money to pay that secretaries? It's not us who are taking that 2 secretaries. And where are we getting that money to pay that? They said if you don't contribute, then you are not allowed to get that food. And you must fill in these database forms. We must fill in these database forms. I asked him, is this database forms not a political party's forms? Why is the database forms involved in this? He said, these database are coming from the minister's office. I asked him, database are for the political parties. And why must we receive our food with the voters' cards? ID card is already enough. They said that so that they must know that we are Namibian. And I asked him, did my ID not show you that I am Namibian? On my ID is it stating that we are Namibian? When the food is coming every time, they are writing the laces. We are giving in that laces at the council's office, Commercial Constituency Council, Angolo's office. But the food, the laces we are giving in, we don't get the food. If the food is coming out, then the other peoples who are not getting writing the names, they must receive that food. The laces are still laying there. They say the lace have been thrown away. I asked him, why did the council throw away the lace? The lace has been thrown out from the ministers. We don't know which ministers. They just said it's from the ministers. I asked him, which ministers? They don't say to me, which ministers was it? So they must know from which minister is it happening that. It's not now that this problem is starting. When COVID-19 food is coming, then we must get that food in this shipping. If it's not here, then one CDC's house is there, then it must be in that house. We must receive that food. And it's not all of the people who are receiving that food. There are people who are really hungry people. I already tell him, I know in my area peoples who are the people who really need food. Let me help you to do that work. They said no.
When we arrived at the scene, the shebeen was open. However, a young woman quickly locked the doors as we arrived.
Now listen to me. Listen to me.
If you are doing a meeting with the community, then you must
you recruit the person and we obey the person. What do you say? You are the one who is recruiting the person and we are the ones who are going to pay for that. So what do you say?
The government knows we didn't get any money. There is no I was talking now what the
You don't work like that. You must recruit and you must pay for that.
These people are telling me the people who listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. The people who have been arrested. Okay, all right. Okay. Now I'm asking, who is okay? I changed my mind. Let me change my mind. Will you take the names of? No. I'm asking you. Will you take the people the way the government needs it for free? No. Wiping. I will give you the chance, please. I don't know now. Okay, come. Hello, come to me. Okay, listen to me. No, I will not take 3 people. I will not take 3 people.
Riyadh says she does not know how Mr. Hadua, to whom she refers to as a CDC, got the mandate to distribute food meant to alleviate the suffering of the poor in her community.
This morning, I come to here. The list I sent also on your WhatsApp that the people was queue here, out from inside to outside in the queue for that food and for that place to write these names. I asked him, why must you use the political party papers? Why? This is the political party. We don't agree that one. I don't agree. Just bring the food, and if a person is receiving the food, then they can just write his name. Then you know that we receive the food. This community is Ochimisa Khomasdal constituency community. We don't have any community here. We are not having a community. The community is that CDCs. But the CDCs are not doing his work what they must do. And we are not having any community in this location. I don't know who put them on that CDCs. I don't know who put them there. It's many times. And we are tired now. We are tired. People who are getting is the Oshivampo peoples. His members and his friends, that's the people who are getting. Both of Oshivampo peoples. But they are taking out Tamaranamas, Hereros, Pastor peoples, they are taking out. But both of them are the Oshivampo peoples who are getting that COVID-19 food. And it's the most of them, it's the people who are having the shippings here, his friends. He is now here inside in the shipping there. They just close, they see, and they just close the door. He's there inside, I see him, he's there inside.
Fellow Namibians, as we are enjoying our festive season, let's not forget that COVID-19 is among us. Let's knock it out together as one nation by wearing our mask correctly, sanitizing our hands, and maintaining our social distance. Let's knock it out.
Join the Ackerman School of Value and get back on the road to success with our range of schoolwear, like 2-pack short-sleeve shirts from only $49.95. Get ready to learn and ready to play. Get everything you need for back to school, only at Ackerman's.
Ko Choppies okunokombo yiwa lela. Otwaza mokashako ko Topsco maize meal ke kilograma omlongo. Nokashako ko Backpro kusila okuningi kuki ka kilograma omlongo. Umunokashako ko makoroni go pula na yo elbow ke kilograma ndatu no sho olushilo rice king e kilograma omlongo. Otwaza mwishewe osuka ontokele nande o brown yo kilograma ntano no pula na spaghetti yo kilograma yimwe. Aihembi noto imonokondado yo pevilela koma seregane no milongongoi nongoi ni siringongoi no spenisa. Talela postola de todo Choppies mo Namibia mo Funky Town Khomasdal, Omsia, Ongwediva, Ondangwa no mo Valfes by Nena.
Ria Chipanga was incensed when she found out that a CDC in the area where she lives was tasked with distributing food meant to assist those who continue to suffer after lockdown, and did so from his shebeen, whilst allegedly excluding non-Oshiwambo speaking residents. She called the Khomasdal constituency councillor Samuel Angolo to inform him of what was happening. When I called him for comment, however, he denied any knowledge of what was happening and asked me to wait so that he can conduct a thorough investigation into what was happening there.
I did tell council also yesterday, it's many times that I'm inside in the council's office with these problems. Our councillor Angolo is lying. Let me tell you the truth. He's lying many times when I come to the office. The councillor is also not in his work. He's also in the workers of council. They didn't know where the councillor is. We must just take him off because he doesn't do his work and he's in his offices. Where are he? Why can he people not know? Why can the secretary of council not know where the councillor is? It's many letters. I also have letters that I have read to councillor. I'm having the evidence. The evidences are at my house. I'm having evidence, many evidence I'm having. And I bring in that evidence to Council's office. And Councillor is lying. Yesterday night time, I told him also that meeting about of. He was saying he didn't know about of the meeting.
Cecilia Petrus, a resident of the area whose sister is allegedly dating the CDC representative, a certain Mr. Hadua, disputed the claims made by Riet and believes that the CDC are doing their best.
Yesterday we had a meeting down there where they usually meet. Then, yeah, exactly. Then that they do, the suggestion was just like, it's not a must. He just said people should contribute $2 for the person that's writing the names and all that. Then people started making a conflict about it. It was like all up. And the lady was like, she called the council and everything. Then for the bar, because it's where he stays that they do. He has nowhere to go make it. He suggested like people should come to his place, so we write the names like down. And he did not do it inside the bar, it was outside. No, it's actually also a good idea. It's not really bad. Because for some people, some of them, they don't have their IDs, and in case you don't have your ID, then you have to use a voter's card. Because actually it doesn't depend on what you voted or anything. The thing is, it goes to every ordinary person. Doesn't mean it's not for political parties.
I sent an email to the Khomas governor, Laura McLeod Kachirua, to ask her to help us to get to the bottom of this.
The registration of the food beneficiary is done at a constituency level by the Disaster Risk Management Committee members, of course under the supervision of the constituency councillor. There are also set criteria as to who to register in order to receive these food parcels, as is per the National Disaster Risk Management guidelines for the most vulnerable people affected by the lockdown during state of emergency, which are actually the following. Most vulnerable persons, and here we are looking at people without shelter who do not benefit from any other ministry. We are also looking at street vendors who lost income due to lockdown. And also remember, these food exclude all persons on the government food baskets and those on the social nets, like the pensioners, the food bank beneficiaries, the social grants, drought relief food beneficiaries, and for now, and so on. Having said that, the food parcels in most cases that are received by Khomas Regional Council or the constituencies is either coming from the office of the OPM or it is a private donation. Now, for proper adherence to the COVID-19 measures and regulations, the region resolves that these food parcels must be distributed on a house-to-house basis. Also, the Regional Council has resolved for better accountability, transparency, monitoring and record purpose, the donation must not be directed, but rather delivered to the office of Khomas Regional Council headquarters at the office of the CRO.
I asked Governor Laura McLeod Kachirua what recourse there is for those who have been denied access to what has now been termed COVID food.
Whatever is received is directly distributed or allocated to the constituencies for proper distribution to the rightful beneficiaries. Since the inception of this program, we as a region have never received enough food for everybody. If a beneficiary did not receive anything during a certain or a given distribution, such beneficiary is advised to be patient and at least to receive in the next round according to the registration list. In actual fact, these distributions is following the registration list to the latter. If there appear to be any valid irregularities or discrepancies in the distribution process, it must be reported to the constituency relevant structures for proper investigation and redress. If the structure of the constituency does not help to address the issue, it can equally as well be reported to my office. Therefore, I equally still urge our staff members at the constituency level, under the leadership of the constituency's councillors, to adhere to the guidelines in terms of identification of vulnerable people in our region, as well as to correctly and deliberately follow the right criteria as to who should receive these food parcels in order to avoid any unnecessary complaints.
This station subscribes to the Namibia Media Code of Conduct and is regulated by the Media Ombudsman, appointed to deal with complaints about media content that breach this code. This includes content that is inaccurate, unfair, or that invade privacy. We encourage aggrieved members of the public to submit complaints to the Media Ombudsman via mediaombudsmannamibia.org. The Media Ombudsman is supported by the Editors Forum of Namibia, advocating for ethical and quality journalism.
Never in your life did you think that 90 minutes could feel so mind-numbingly long. And this is the same guy who calls your shows boring. The time to download DSTV is now. DSTV subscribers can link up to 5 linked devices to their account, so you can watch the best sports, sitcoms and more live, or catch up on what you've missed. Just download the app, link your DSTV account, and using Wi-Fi or data, you can watch the TV you want right now with DSTV.
Ria Chipanga, a resident turned activist following the inaction of government on land and housing issues, showed us some more contentious ills in the community, including the communal toilets, which have been out of operation for years. She says she's been writing letters for years to try and get answers, even to the president. However, her pleas have fallen on deaf ears.
The situation here, 2000, we, City of Windhoek people, bring us from the different locations, different constituencies. Okangia Par, Havana, Hakahana, from that locations to here. We are renting now for 20 years in this Ochimisa land. Our location, City of Windhoek people didn't want to hand over these rents. They do, we are not allowed it because we are at the renting airs. And we are not allowed it to put maybe even our own toilets in our yards, of our own water taps in our yards. They said we cannot because it's a renting airs we are at. We are using this toilet, is the old toilet that have been put at 2000. This one toilet is using by 100 houses here. It's only one toilet that is having this one. It's only this one water tap. It's the fellas, it's looking like this. One of the person who is in the toilet and the other one are coming from the other house to use the toilet. Then they are just standing there to use that tap here. Because you want to pee, then they must stand there. Both of the peoples are going to the rivers to use it there. And the rivers are very expensive for us. More than 5 years. I read also the letters, even to our president, ministers, 11, 12 ministries. I read it. Political party presidents, I write the letters to them. Until it was the first letters I gave in, it was 1st of April, 2020. Until now, they didn't come back and answer us what furthermore we can do. And we are still waiting now. How long must we stay in these shake houses? We also want to just make it expensive from these shake houses. Yes, there was City of Windhoek Peoples was last year, 2019, April month, they have given 10 million money because they said we are destroying the capital city of Namibia with these shake houses. So they give out this 10 million to take off all of the shake houses. Why can City of Windhoek give that 10 million to make the order here in our location? LPM President, Landless People's Movement President Bernardo Swartboy, who have stopped for us that problem. But until now, City of Windhoek didn't come back. And we are still waiting. Next week, Deputy Mayor did call me. They said they are busy now to plan how we can start, what they can do with Ochumisa Sevendeland. I asked him, are you busy to plan? Are you busy to plan to give us that you are the ownership certificate of a paper that says that you are the owner? I think that paper is already in your computer, in City of Windhoek People's computer. Why can you just not print out the paper? They say they are busy to plan it. If someone will get, one person will get here in our location, that corona, many of them we can't, because hepatitis sickness also, many of people was having, because we're using, more than 100 people are using one toilet, more than 100 houses are using one tap of the water. I come and take it with my hand, but they said we cannot take the hand, he cannot use that one I'm using. They said so. And we can get more than, if one person will get there, then more people will receive it. Then that corona will just go like a, I really don't know, but just going like a water like you see there. It will just go like that.
Riet Chapanga lives in Ochomise's Sevendelaan Komastyle constituency and has for years lamented the living conditions of those who live there. She showed us around the desolate community living with festering sewers.
This area here around are more than 100 people who are also here, but these 100 people are disabled and grandparents who are in this area more than. And it's also only one toilet that is here. One broken. It's also broken. And it's the fellows we are using that is around us. Every time after 2 weeks, after a week, this drain is every time broken. We are still struggling we try to call the City of Windhoek Peoples to make a point here to clean it, because it's a corona. And corona is also from these fellows that can give us the sickness. And these disabled people who are around here are more than grandparents and disabled people. I also talk about this problem of these grandparents, these disabled people with our ministers, our presidents. I give them also the letters. But until now, they didn't do anything.
How does that make you feel about your government?
Oh, my government doesn't make me really, I don't know what can I say, because I just want to cry about my disabled people's grandparents who are around here. Because who must stand up to fight for our peoples, disabled peoples? How can they fight for themselves? Who will try for them to go out of these shake houses? Is it not our government who must help these grandparents, these disabled peoples? It's our government who must help it. But they didn't do it. But when it's voting time, they know that they must be around here to politic and campaign in these shake houses, in these disabled peoples, in these grandparents' houses. They must be coming day to day, night to night, morning to morning. They must come and do what they did. But if we are crying our problems, our government that didn't come out with our problems to help us, where must we go? Are we also not Namibians? We are also Namibians, but we didn't feel that we are Namibians. This area is also one of the renting areas. And this area doesn't have any toilet. Here is also disabled people's grandparents are both of them there in this area, but they are not having any toilets. They are using that toilet we was now here, there, that upstairs toilet. I already complained City of Windhoek of these things, but they didn't until start now. They didn't come back about of this around. And we don't know what is the problem, what must we do to our government. It's also here where the cast of our voting, when they are voting to campaign, then they are standing in this area, our political parties. But they didn't see the fellows here. They didn't try to help us about of this. Where must we throw in the fellows? We don't have any orange drums, we don't have any fellows things we can input the fellows. And it's just, the corona sickness is also giving this sickness, can also get, we are getting. We don't know where must we starting.
I asked the city of Windhoek to balance how they appear to be living their best lives, purchasing vehicles and paying rock star salaries, whilst they clearly are failing to deliver basic human rights to the residents of this capital city.
The concerned residents are leasing those plots of 300 square meters from the municipality with 2 houses per plot, and only with the